Joe, let's wrap this up here and get to one final topic. So last week, you and I talked about our 3 Heisman contenders, but tonight we're going to get back take 2 of who we think is leading in the Heisman race. But we're going to talk about a guy named Travis Hunter who had a big week, or who's had a big season so far. Had 9 catches, I think, what was it, last week or this week? Whichever one, they exploded, 9 catches, 150 yards. Absolutely fantastic. It was last week because they're on the bye week this week. By the way, did you know that you could practice in the bye week? Colorado is the only team that does that, apparently. Anywho, we're going to do take 2 here. How do you see the Heisman pictures starting to shape up, even with a guy like Travis Hunter, who it would be very unique because not a lot of quarterbacks are being talked about?
Yeah, there's not a lot of quarterbacks to go with, and I have 2 guys I want to bring up in a second, but I think Travis Hunter's return last week and having such a big role in the big win that they had over Cincinnati re-enters him to that number 2 spot over Cam Ward. I'm still very high on Cam Ward. I think that there is still a narrative that if they go undefeated that he could win the award. I do feel like Travis Hunter, as long as he finishes and stays healthy, should lead the conversation. Like, he should be the guy at the front of the list. I don't know if Jeanty starts to slow down at all. I have no idea if he's going to slow down and if there's ever going to come
balls. He won't get balls.
That's part of it with me, is that I think he's going to finish the year with just unbelievable stats. I don't think he's going to break Barry Sanders' record just because it's such a crazy record that he broke and he was such an unreal talent. But at the same time, like you're talking about here, we're going to spend so much more time focused on, and the national landscape is going to give so much attention to Travis Hunter and to Cam Ward. I would just like to throw in there, it needs to be brought up 2 guys, one guy specifically that has played himself into the conversation over the past couple of weeks, who we've mentioned before, Dillon Gabriel of Oregon. He's second in the country in completion percentage with 76%, 9.4 yards per attempt. So he's not just dinking and dunking. He's got 2,300 yards. And he has an 18-5 touchdown interception ratio. Somebody that we didn't bring up the previous week that I just want to put on the table, that if he comes back from his injury and starts to play good and finishes the year, I think he could be a finalist. That's Curtis Rourke at Indiana, who I didn't even truly rationalize like how good his stats were. 74% completion percentage, 1,900 passing yards, and he had 15 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, and he missed a game and a half. He's not making a lot of mistakes. His passer rating's phenomenal. He's got a ton of great completion percentage. I know it's not against a sexy schedule, but if Indiana closes out and they finish undefeated, it's going to be a great storyline.
Yeah, that for Rourke, though, missing a game and a half, I just don't know how much it's going to affect him.
It might kill him. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Let me talk about Hunter very quickly before I get to the point I want to make in the things that you said here. Look, I feel like if you don't have him in your top 2, meaning Travis Hunter at minimum, it's like not voting for Shohei Ohtani when he was with the Angels and pitching and hitting. Yeah. It's like you're not going to vote that dude the MVP. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? He might be the best pitcher in the game. He might be the best hitter in the game. Like, what are we doing? Now, I don't know if Travis Hunter is the best DB and wide receiver in the game, but he's doing something that nobody else is doing. Okay, like he's a unicorn. I don't care what conference he's in. Joe, listen, I get it, but he can cover a DB. He's old school, bro. Like, this is insane. We might not see this again for a decade, 2 decades. Who knows?
Well, I don't think we're ever going to see it in the rest of our lives. I don't think that. Think about all the people who've been watching college football.
I'm not going to go that far.
But we haven't seen anything until this point.
I'm just not going to go that far.
Okay.
I can't go that far because I think it's more common now. Joe, that's why you have 2-way players like Paul Skeens, who's a 2-way player in college. Okay, like you have Shohei Ohtani, you have Travis Hunter. We're seeing this happen more and more and more and more in sports. Name the sport, right? Like, and for example, the athletic, like I'm watching it right here in front of my eyes. I'm not going to say the kid's name; it has no national relevance. But it's like, dude, what is going on? These guys that do 2 different things have been insane.
It absolutely has. And my only thing is that it requires a special kind of athlete to do what Travis Hunter's doing, to have the physical capability to withstand all the snaps, but also all the contact potentially that he's going to take. That's why I think he's unique and why he ultimately has the best case. And Shedeur Sanders has been phenomenal, and he certainly, I think, plays into the conversation as well. But the big reason why they're winning, and when they win big, it's because of Travis Hunter. It's because he's locked down on one side of the field, and he's also producing as a receiver. He is just such an incredible storyline, and it feels it's quick to knock in any hater that Colorado situation to find ways to poke holes into it. But he's just so unique. It's so different from anything that we can be exposed to.
Now, let me just make this very clear as we're wrapping this segment up here. In no way, like in no world am I at the current moment, if you made me pick today, based off of the games done today, Dillon Gabriel will win the Heisman for me. Just letting it be known. I mean, like, because number one, he does have the best win. I do think he has been the most consistent. Okay. I mean, Joe, I don't think that Travis Hunter alone can beat a team like Ohio State. Now, I'm not saying that Dillon Gabriel did that alone, but Joe, I mean, look at the caliber of team that he was flawless against. I mean, this dude was putting passes, like throwing dimes. Look, here's a hot take. I'm never the guy that gets quarterback Heisman Trophy fatigue. I'm a unicorn in that realm. You know how people are like, oh, they're just going to always give it to a quarterback. They're going to always give it to a quarterback. No, yeah, because that's how big that position's worth. Like, Joe, 76% completion percentage. 70,
I mean, that's insane. That is,
by the way, think about this. The NFL freaked out because Jaden Daniels was at 79. Like, people don't realize when you're getting above 75, Joe, the last quarterbacks that have done over 75% completion percentage throughout the season, who have they been? Caleb Williams 2 years ago, when he went through a stretch where he's right at 72 to 75. Burrow, Lawrence, like that's what we're talking about here. Like as deadly accurate as those dudes were, that's where they set at. By the way, they all have the same amount of passing attempts. It's not like things are different. It's not like he's not tossing the ball around. The only thing is he's got more interceptions than those guys did, like at this point. But the bottom line is, Joe, he's darting dudes up, man.
It's worth bringing up. I think, though, that if we're going with the quarterback, it does have to be Cam Ward. Because, like, the plays that Cam Ward makes on film are not created.
Also fair.
They're not the same as what Dillon Gabriel is doing.
Fair. I mean, but Cam Ward.
Miami fans, you're going to say that you're a hater for that, by the way.
Okay. Again, to the Miami fans. Joe, who did I pick to win the Heisman? I said if you asked me today. You didn't ask. I don't vote on it today. Who did I pick to win the Heisman at the beginning of the season?
BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. Bet online, where the game starts.